So now we're talking about yogurts here, and I'm once again going to go for the organic yogurt because it's only $1 more per kilo, and once again it's going to have some really healthy fats and less pesticides. So I'm going to go organic. I'm also going to be looking for sheep's yogurt or goat's yogurt, which I haven't seen yet because that's easier on the digestion, it's less inflammatory, and obviously if you can get raw yogurt, that's the best thing in the world, but they don't typically have that at supermarkets. So here's something I would take before any type of dairy yogurt, which is coconut yogurt. Now, all yogurts are great because they have friendly bacteria that help your body digest and assimilate nutrients. They're so essential. This is coconut yogurt, doesn't have the problems that dairy has. Now, dairy is often very inflammatory. The inflammatory hormones cause you to gain weight. So I'm going to go for coconut yogurt, and this particular coconut yogurt is it's organic coconut milk. There's no pesticides there. A teeny bit of tapioca starch, less than 1% of tapioca starch, and some stevia, which is a really good sweetener because stevia does not elevate your insulin levels at all. So this is good. I'll mix it up with some berries and some bananas or make a smoothie out of it. This is my choice for yogurt. So milk, if it's pasteurized, it can be very inflammatory, which then elevates your pro-inflammatory cytokines, which is a hormone that can cause your body to go into fat storage mode. So I try to stay away from milk unless it is raw, and of course they don't sell raw milk in supermarkets. So instead of milk, I'm probably going to look for things like nut and seed milk. I'm not going to look for soy milk because once again, soy causes problems that can elevate your estrogen levels and cause digestion problems, and both of those things can cause you to gain weight. So I'm going to look for nut and seed milk that's preferably unsweetened as opposed to regular milk, and I'm going to use that in everything that I use milk in: cereals, teas, coffees, and anything else that calls for milk in a recipe. So here we have lots of different nut and seed milks. There's soy milk, which again I wouldn't touch, rice milk, which is often loaded with sugar, so I'm not going to go for the rice milk. Oat milk, if it's unsweetened, is not too bad. There's this blend I found of almond and coconut milk. The one problem I have with this one is they're putting sugar in it. They're putting cane sugar in it as the second or third ingredient. So this is going to be too loaded with sugar. Here's this one's almond milk, and I have to read the ingredients carefully. So this says no cane sugar. Now, sometimes almond milk has no sweetener whatsoever. That's what I'm going to go for. I want almond milk with no sweetener. This does have a sweetener. It's got agave, which is better than cane sugar. It's still a sugar, but it doesn't elevate your blood sugar as much. So agave is a better sugar. So this almond milk so far is my milk of choice in this supermarket. But ideally, I'm going to look for a nut and seed milk that has no sweetener. So I'm looking at cereals and porridges, and the problem with that is that with grains in general, they're just loaded with sugar that elevates your insulin levels. There's usually no real essential nutrients in it, and it's just processed and causes lots of problems. It can cause inflammation in your stomach, which elevates your inflammatory hormones. But I'm looking at these two are made of quinoa. Now, as a grain, quinoa is probably the best grain because it's the highest in protein. It typically doesn't have gluten, and it's easier on your digestion and less of an insulin response. So I'm more likely to choose a porridge or a cereal made out of quinoa. But ideally, I'd be looking for a muesli that has no grains, no oats, just nuts and seeds and maybe some fruit in it. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't see it yet, but all the other cereals I'm going to try to avoid because they're just going to cause problems. Here's something I found in the cereal area, which shouldn't be here, it should be somewhere else, but is linseeds, also known as flax seeds, which are loaded with omega-3s, protein and fiber. So these are great to add to pretty much anything, salads. It's really good if you are having any kind of cereals or smoothies. Really good. You need to grind them up in a coffee grinder and maybe put 2 tablespoons, grind them up in a coffee grinder, put it in your cereals or your smoothies, and you're getting lots of omega-3s, which are anti-inflammatory and essential for weight loss. So that's linseeds, also known as flax seeds.